Hi everyone, this is going to be a brief look and comparison of the various audio issues and fixes of the last several physical releases of the film Conan the Barbarian from 1982. Before we get to the comparisons, let me provide a bit of context. The older DVD releases, and anything going further back, simply offered the original theatrical audio mix for the film, which was done in mono. The original mix for the film sounds great even today. It does sound a little rough in some areas, expected when you cram dialogue, ambient sounds, action sounds, and orchestral music all into a single channel, but overall it's a powerful, punchy mix that gloriously showcases the wonderful music composed by the late, great Basil Poledouris, while still effectively balancing dialogue and sound effects. The North American Blu-ray of Conan the Barbarian, released by NBC Universal in 2011, featured a new 5.1 audio mix that was somehow missing several instruments and choirs in the music, as well as other general sound effects. This is obviously a huge issue for a film with such wonderful music, and even more so given that the film relies so heavily on it for its emotional core. To make matters worse, the original theatrical mono mix was not included with that release. If you search online for Conan the Barbarian Blu-ray audio issues, you'll find plenty of other people complaining about the missing audio elements from the North American Blu-ray. So, it caused a bit of concern when it was discovered that the new Dolby Atmos mix that is included in the freshly released Ultra HD version of the film, courtesy of Arrow Video, would be, quote, partially adapting a legacy 5.1 home video remix supplied by NBC Universal. Arrow Video is typically known for their high-quality treatment of films, but this had me and some other folks a bit worried that this issue was going to repeat itself. Fortunately, this release does include the original theatrical mono mix, alleviating another worst-case scenario like the previous release. Still, out of curiosity, I wanted to check out the new Atmos mix and see if it was still missing elements like the NBC Universal 5.1 mix. I'm happy to report that the new Atmos mix is an improvement to the old 5.1 mix. The choirs and certain other instruments are once again present in the scenes that they were missing from, although they're still quiet when compared to the original theatrical mix. Another difference is that the music is generally lower in volume in the overall soundstage. Low-end frequencies are also sometimes cut pretty hard, which reduces the impact of some of the drums in the music. High-end frequencies are also filtered quite a bit, such as in the ending of Orphans of Doom. Now, in putting together this comparison, I picked up another copy of the North American NBC Universal release, having long since sold my copy after discovering the aforementioned audio issues. I was very surprised to discover that it contained a different 5.1 mix than the copy I previously owned. This copy has the same artwork, UPC, and all other identifiable traits as the previous release. Searching online yielded no information about this disc being reissued with corrected audio. Now, I know I'm not misremembering what the 5.1 mix originally sounded like. In fact, before I sold the original disc, I recorded the Riders of Doom and recovery scenes to showcase the sound issues for some friends and colleagues. And I still have those recorded clips and will be including them a little later on in the comparison. The Arrow Atmos mix seems to be based on this revised 5.1 mix, with some changes. Studios will sometimes low-key reissue error-corrected discs in situations like this, but this is the first time I've experienced this with this particular film in any form. In any case, I would still recommend going with the original theatrical mono mix where available, as I do think it is still the best overall audio experience. The soundtrack is big and bold, as it should be, given the overall operatic presentation of this story. It has a lot of life in it. Drums are big and full of bass. The downsides are, again, that it sometimes can sound a bit harsh and cramped. Obviously, being a single mono track does not leave a lot of room for volume dynamics or just space in general for so many different things happening simultaneously, as mentioned earlier. In comparison, this new Atmos mix is more dynamic, with room for things to breathe in the overall soundstage, without the harsher high-frequency elements that can sometimes occur with the mono mix. But overall, the Atmos mix is a bit thin and weak-sounding, and as said before, some elements of the music are too quiet for my tastes. Finally, I'd like to say that the video excerpts you'll be seeing that have been pulled from the Arrow 4K release have been converted to SDR from HDR, and they've been downsampled from 4K to 1080p, meaning that the footage is not indicative of the quality of the actual disc, which I think is pretty fantastic. With all of that out of the way, let's check out the comparisons.